1 week away from walking into Japan and burning his name into the same stone as Valentino Rossi, equaling the man the world once thought untouchable. And here's the truth: nobody in yellow likes to swallow. What Marc has done, what Marc is still doing, what Marc will keep doing, is not just matching Rossi, it's erasing him. The numbers will soon be the same, but the substance behind those numbers, they're worlds apart. And if you've lived through both eras, if you've seen the Doctor play clown and king with his charisma, and then watched Marc roll in like a wrecking ball that gave zero fucks about showmanship and all the fucks about execution, you already know Rossi was spectacle. Marquez is evolution. Rossi was myth, Marquez is reality. Let's take it back, because to understand why Marc stands alone, you have to see the cracks in the Rossi empire. Back in 2008, Yamaha rolled the dice on a kid named Jorge Lorenzo. Double 250cc champion, Spanish ice in his veins. The future was written in his throttle hand. Rossi hated it. Don't let the PR fairy tales fool you. Rossi didn't welcome competition. He resented it. He built walls in the garage, literally dividing mechanics, creating tribes inside Yamaha. He smiled for cameras, waved to fans, played the hero. But inside, he wanted to rule uncontested. Lorenzo wasn't meant to be a teammate. He was meant to be a problem, and he became one. By 2010, Lorenzo had scalped a title right out of Rossi's backyard. By 2012, he had another. And then came 2015, the most toxic year MotoGP has ever lived through, where Lorenzo took the crown, Rossi melted down, and Marc's name became the nuclear word that split MotoGP into two religions. See, Rossi always had charisma, the flair, the theater. Wheelies, helmets painted like jokes, celebrations staged like sitcoms, and the people loved him for it. But charisma doesn't carry you when you're staring down a kid like Jorge Lorenzo, a rider so surgical he carved lines into tracks like a scalpel. Lorenzo was Rossi's worst nightmare. Fast, fearless, ice cold, and sitting right across the garage. And while Rossi played the role of the global superstar, Lorenzo was racking points, writing his own name into history. Rossi fans hated him, but respect is never asked for, it's taken, and Lorenzo took it with every perfect lap. Now, here's where the real shift happened. 5 years later, 2013, Honda drops Marc Marquez into the deep end. 20 years old, rookie, babyface, and what does he do? 6 wins, title on debut. He walked in, looked at the grid filled with Rossi, Lorenzo, Pedrosa, Dovizioso, and said, "This is mine." Rookie of the year wasn't enough. He was rookie of the era. Nobody had ever seen this. Physics-bending saves, elbow-dragging, the kind of risk that broke bones and shredded logic. Rossi had been the show, Lorenzo had been the surgeon, but Marquez was something else entirely. He was a weapon. And Rossi, the man who once smiled as a mentor, realized fast that the kid wasn't a student. He was the executioner sent to bury him. 2014 proved it. 10 straight wins to start the season, 13 total. That's not competition, that's slaughter. Rossi was still beloved, sure, but beloved like an old band still touring. Marc was the headliner now, sure, and the stadiums were chanting for blood. And here's the kicker. Marc wasn't doing it with the charm of Rossi or the smooth lines of Lorenzo. He was chaos in control. He was riding bikes on the limit of destruction every lap, every corner. He turned crashes into saves. He made impossible overtakes the new normal. He wasn't rewriting the book, he was setting it on fire. Then came 2015, the nuclear year. Rossi versus Lorenzo for the title, with Marquez standing in between, the storm nobody could ignore. Rossi accused Marc of protecting Lorenzo, of manipulating races. Malaysia blew up into a scandal when Rossi kicked Marc mid-corner. Read that again. Kicked him. That was the breaking point. Rossi's mask shattered. The doctor who played the friendly genius turned into a bitter old king unwilling to let go of his throne. Marquez never forgave it. Neither did his fans. Rossi's fanboys screamed conspiracy, claimed politics robbed their idol, but real eyes saw the truth. Rossi couldn't handle being outgunned by not one, but 2 Spaniards who refused to kneel. And in the middle of all this, Lorenzo delivered the final blow. He took the 2015 title, fair and square, cool as ice, while Rossi melted in public. But here's the beauty. Lorenzo is the only man alive who shared the trenches with both Rossi and Marc. He saw the real versions, not the PR posters. And when asked what separates them, what does Lorenzo say? They are both competitive animals. They can do anything to win. That's raw. That's reality. He called Rossi charismatic, open, natural. Marc, charismatic too, but shy. That's the whole story right there. Rossi lived off applause. Marc lived off victory. Rossi needed the show. Marc needed the kill. Fast forward to 2019. Lorenzo is broken, battered, a shadow of himself at Honda. Marc, he wins 12 races. He takes a title with 420 points, over double his nearest rival. He's dragging a Honda nobody else can ride into the stratosphere, carrying a brand on his back while destroying his own body. That season alone is proof enough. Rossi could charm, but Marc could conquer. Then came the crash of 2020. Jerez, arm broken, surgery, titanium plates. The comeback ruined. The pain years began. 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, Marc lived in hell. Vision problems, operations, broken confidence, whispers of retirement. Rossi retired with a smile and a merchandising empire. Marc almost retired with his bones in shambles. But here's the savage difference. Marc came back. He dragged himself out of the grave. Rossi left the stage. Marc walked back onto it and demanded the spotlight. 2025 is the payoff. Ducati factory rider, 11 wins already, sprint massacres, Sunday executions. And now, 1 week from Motegi, Marc stands ready to equal Rossi's 9. The Rossi faithful don't want it, but the math doesn't lie. Marc needs to outscore his brother Alex by 4 points. That's all. Motegi is where Marc has always closed the deal, 4 times already crowned in Japan. This will be the 5th. Japan is his second kingdom. And look how Rossi behaves, caught smiling when Marc crashed at Misano Sprint. That's not sportsmanship. That's bitterness. That's pettiness. Rossi can grin at Marc's gravel baths, but it only delays the coronation. Because here's the thing. When the lights go out, when the grid lines up, when the track opens, Marc Marquez isn't here to play doctor. He's here to write history in blood and asphalt. The comparison is brutal but necessary. Rossi made MotoGP popular, he made it theater, he made it global. But Marquez redefined it. Rossi was the star. Marc is the standard. Rossi beat Biaggi, Gibernau, Caparossi, Melandri, Stoner for flashes. Marc fought and beat everyone. Lorenzo, Pedrosa, Dovizioso, Stoner's lingering shadow, Quartararo, Bagnaia, Martin, Bezzecchi, Acosta. Generations, whole armies. He bled, he broke, he rebuilt, and he still stood taller. So let's kill the debate once and for all. Rossi was legend, yes, but Marc is the nightmare that legends fear when they sleep. And when he lifts that 9th crown in Japan, it won't be a tie. It'll be a torch passed by force. The Rossi era dies at the hands of the man Rossi never wanted to exist. Because the final truth is this: Rossi never wanted competition. Marc was the competition. They both brought energy. Yes, Rossi brought theater, Marc brought war. But those who witnessed both, who lived through the yellow smoke and then the red storm, stand with Marc now. With respect to the doctor, with acknowledgement of his impact, we must face reality. Marc Marquez is by far ahead of every league.